All right, today's just going to be a lab day to continue working on the bouncing ball. Remember, Monday we're not going to be here. Over the weekend, I want you to start planning out your next assignment, which is going to be the stick animation. Okay, so part of the assignment that we're going to do is we're going to rig the stick to control how it moves. That way we have a lot more control of all the features of it, so we don't just like grab pieces and they end up going everywhere. And then obviously we'll animate it, okay? So here is an example of a past student's stick. Okay, pretty simple, pretty quick. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but obviously the difference here is that it's not just one item we're going to be animating. It's not just like the ball bouncing and squishing. We have this platform, and then on the platform we have these little legs that stick out. Okay, and so getting this platform to work, getting the legs to also work, or the stick pieces underneath it to also work. And this was Sam, so Sam also did a bouncing ball on top of that, that also squished and changed color. And then bounces. Okay, so what I would recommend is I had, those crooks from my last class took it. I'll print more. But I have like storyboard paper. I'll just use this for now. I would recommend going through and sketching out what you want the stick to do. So if you have a ground plane like so, and then you have your stick is here, so let's say this is frame 1, and then what is it going to do? Okay, so he's going to go this way, and then way over here he might be at like frame 50 or something like that. So he's obviously going to move very slow this way. Maybe it's not frame 50. Maybe it's frame 5 is a little too quick. Let's say frame 15. Okay. So if he's going from frame 1 to frame 15, he's going to start here. He's going to end up there. And then this stick is going to start like that. And then what's going to happen to the stick as it starts moving forward? It's going to go back, right? So about here, the stick is now going to be back. Now what will control how far that stick goes backwards? Speed. The faster this goes, the more that's going to bend. What else will control it? Not the length. Maybe the stiffness, right? The stiffness of these joints that are inside here. If the item is more of like, you know, we kind of saw that in the 12 principles. If it's more of like an antenna, we would see more of like a rigid movement. If it's more feathery, is what his example was, it would be more like that. We're going to assume that it's kind of like more feathery than antenna-y because that's kind of boring, right? All right, so it starts off here. It goes like this. We get to frame 15. What's the tail going to look like? That's where it's stopping, is at 15. But at frame 15, what will it look like? It'll look like this way, or will it look like that way?
Are we in Australia?
We're in America.
I would think it will
When
go
it
that
stops
way.
at 15, it seems
Yeah.
like it would carry through.
It would, right? But at 15, it would be like this. And then at like 17, 18, 19, then it would be like that, right? And then we would get this kind of like wagging feature of it. So frame 1, frame 15, it does that. Now, what other things could we do with something like this? I don't know why I went to a new document, but I did. Doesn't matter. There's my ground. Here's my stick. So let's say he's here, and instead of just going straight across, let's say that he like swoops up and comes up here. Okay. So now we're dealing with different dynamics because if the leg of this is right here, as it swoops down, what's the platform going to do as it gets here? What is it going to look like? Will it look like that? Will it look like this? Will it look like that? Okay. So typically I would think it would kind of look, you know, probably straight here, but more like this, and then kind of like that. And then what's the leg going to do? It's going to lag behind some, but it's also going to kind of drag on the ground a bit. And then here, this is going to look like that. So what we're doing is we're just drawing out the different poses of what this thing is going to be going through. So when we get into the software, we have an idea. This is what it's going to be doing. And then when it gets up here, that might be, down like that. And then what is it going to do? Let's say that it flips around. So then it's here. And then let's say it stops here, just so I don't have room to draw. Then this would obviously be like this, and then it would flip over like that. And then we would have this kind of like wagging that would happen there. Okay? So think about some way you want to animate this thing. I want to see wagging. I want to see, obviously, platform movement. And we're only going to move it. Think of video game side scrollers, left and right, up and down. We're not going to go depth-wise with this. The stick that I'm giving you that goes on it, it only moves left and right. So if we were to try to go forward and back like this, or in and out of our depth, it just wouldn't do anything. It would look weird. Here's a couple more. Right? Oops, that was the wrong folder. Okay. So you can see this one flips over, we get a nice smooth motion on the tail, and then we have this kind of thing where we're telling a story about it, more of a cartoony sense, where when it hits the wall, it does that little flapping, and then it just slides down. Right? So all of that stuff, having it planned out, obviously that helps when we get to the animation. That was one of Rob's good ones. There you go. So this one is more a bunch of them at the same time, different properties. Oops, that's the same one. And there it kind of waved goodbye. Okay, so think about different ways you want to animate your stick. I'll print up more storyboard things so we have them. In the meantime, just type online. There we go. I'll spend a quarter of my life logging into stuff. Under modules, under files. Here is storyboards and planned animation stuff. So you can always download these two at home if, I'm going to print them up now, but in case you forget to grab one, you can always grab one. Also look at different color schemes, things that you may want to have, different things that would work good together. I will tell you that if you don't pick good colors for these kinds of things, close that folder apparently to be printed, yes. If you don't pick good colors, then your stuff is very difficult to read, just like I was talking about with the bouncing ball and stuff like that. On Wednesday when we come in,